TakeOver Brooklyn 3. Now, I'm not going to lie, I haven't been watching the product lately. But I did see enough of the product to at least know who I'm really dealing with in this show. Now, the kickoff show, which was only about an hour long, thank goodness for that. I can't stand that they're going to do 2 hours and then another 4 hours tomorrow. I got to watch as much as I can of that stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch all of the kickoff show for Brooklyn. I didn't. But from what I can tell, there were really no matches. Unless I missed one, you guys tell me below. But as far as I can see, it was all about trying to let the fans see the older talent that was once on NXT. Like Baron Corbin. Like D. Neville. Which his mic was garbage. What the hell was... Look. I understand there's some mic difficulties when you got the one that's attached to your ear. But then when he went to a hand mic, it was mostly the same thing. Unless I saw something wrong, someone was playing with his ass. Or someone was not doing their job. But he tried to relay himself alright. The person who shined, as far as I'm concerned, was really Baron Corbin. And this is where talking smack would really come in helpful. Look, he really needs talking smack. Because when he's allowed to talk the way he wants, and I agree with the Lex man, he flows. He doesn't pause. He doesn't have to think about what he's been scripted. If he's allowed to just flow with it, he's very good. Of course, he needs more polish, but he's more than good enough to get away with it. And I felt that's just a shame. Now, let's get to these matches. Number 1, Gargano versus Amos. And you guys tell me below, was that Rosita with him? That looked like Rosita from TNA. Well, now known as GFW. Not G. Yeah, GFW. I'm a little fried. It's a little hot in my apartment. But anyway, was it a good match? It was okay. But the problem with me is that saying that both these guys needed a reboot really kind of took away from the match itself. Because I know that they were having problems with DIY. I remember that. They were having problems and weren't winning the way they were supposed to. They tried to win and then they lost and then they got the champs and they lost again. I understand about Gargano, but Amos, there was a problem with him that he legitimately was not doing so well. And seeing that he's been paired with Rosita is a very good thing. But then reminding the crowd more than a few times that these guys needed a reboot. This is a great match, but they really need to have focus. Amos needs focus. He needs focus. Look, we have to have, what was her name? I forgot her name. Whatever her name is right now. But in the end, they made it so apparent that he needed a focus. Sorry. But he needed to focus. It took away from the match for me. Of course, Amos won because the Rosita saved his ass. Until I get her, Vega, I believe her name is now Vega. Sonya Vega. I believe that's her name. But in the end, she saved his ass. Now that's good to see that he has a partner that's going to save his ass. He needed a partner and now he has one. But for them to constantly keep saying it so much took away from the match. Now here's the second match that I felt was very good and was the 4th best match of the night. And that is the Authors of Pain versus Sanity. I'm glad to see that, how can I say this about Eric Young? Eli, or EY. That man has always had the most craziest types of characters, but he always makes something out of it. Eric Young has always made something out of any stupid or screwy character or very dark character, and he makes it into something. And I'm glad to see that Sanity has been doing pretty well. In the end, they won over the Authors of Pain, who I think will be leaving NXT because they've been champ for a while with Paul Ellery. There's a good chance they'll be going over to, where? Maybe Raw? I think they would need them on Raw, as far as I can tell. But they probably might go to SmackDown. But now, we got Fish and O'Reilly. Fishing with O'Reilly. That's what I'm going to call them. Because I'm fishing to know who they are. I don't really know who they are. Not saying that they're not really important internationally. Just that they came in fast. They did what they need to do. And then they really got away from it as quickly as possible. They took out the Authors of Pain. And they took out Sanity. Now we got to figure out are they going to be something important? I don't know. Let's see what we get. Now, the second best match of the night. I was about to say third, but it's actually the second. What is it? Black versus Hiro Atami. That is the second best match of the night for me. I don't think it was the story these two were trying to sell that got me. It was the brutality of it that got me. Look, a lot of people love high spots. They love high impact, high flips. The thing that got me wasn't about the high flips. It was the high impact and how focused they were on literally knocking each other's heads off more than they wanted to flip around the ring at each other. That I felt was the better story. Not the flying, but the more grounded parts when they were there. And then seeing Black's nose bleed, and they're saying that these guys are incredibly familiar with each other. They both understand each other's fighting technique. And when it reached the point where they weren't flipping anymore all the time, and they were just trying to wrestle one another, that's when the story became the very, very best that I can see it as number 2. In the end, I think Allison, that's his name, Allison Black won. But here's the thing. As a dark character as he is, will he translate properly to the main roster? Look at what we got right now. I know this is going a little ahead of myself, but I'm seeing it from the point of view of the future. Allison Black is a dark character that's not much different from Bray Wyatt or Finn Balor. Now those two are about to have a match in SummerSlam. Then you got this guy. Now you're about to have 3 different dark characters under the same umbrella of the WWE. And 2 of those dark characters, when they're actually dark, that means when they're actually willing to sponsor Bray Wyatt as a dark, really sadistic character, and when they're really willing to let Finn Balor do the freaking demon, they really haven't done much. So with his personality, I'm wondering if they're actually going to go with it. I'm hoping, but I'm not looking too fondly at this. Honestly, I'm not. Now, let's see here. The third best match of the night for me was Drew versus Bobby Roode. I know I could have made that second best match of the night, particularly what happened at the end of the night, but I felt it should be the second best match of the night because of the situation it was in. Look, I know a lot of people liked the match. It was good, but it should have never ended the show. That's the truth. This should have never ended the show. It should have been the second best match of the night in the second to last spot because of what happened with Asuka and Ember Moon. I'm just saying that because it's obvious. The crowd was still very active throughout most of the entire show, but let's be honest. By the time of the end of the show, they were tired. They had been yelling and screaming. They were burnt out almost. So it would have been better if they had been the second to last instead of the last. Was the match good? Yes, it was quite good. The story they both sold was pretty good. Seeing the contrasting sizes, I don't think I've ever seen Bobby Roode actually wrestle Drew McIntyre, or at the time Drew Galloway. I don't think I ever saw them wrestle. Probably I missed it during the time when Drew finally got there. I know Bobby Roode was just on his way out, or he did leave. That's when he went to GFW. So I really didn't see much of him really dealing with Drew Galloway. So this was a very interesting match. You got 2 different size guys doing 2 different type styles. You see Drew Galloway do a helo from the pretty much off the top turn. Oh my, I have not seen him actually do a helo in a while. So he flipping outside the ring to get Bobby Roode was actually quite nice to see. And in the end, where there was so many changes, which the problem with most of NXT, I don't want to say it's a total problem, but one of the problems that NXT has is that they don't sell the matches 100% properly. They do a lot of finisher moves. And that can take away from the majority of the matches, which almost every match, they did that. There was so many false starts or finishing moves that didn't really connect or did connect, but then they did it more than one time. It really took away from the match. And in this case, I think they kind of did that. They did too many trying to do finishing moves, and it really took away from the ending of the match. It doesn't mean it was bad, but it took away from it a little bit. In the end, Drew is now NXT champ, but he gets his ass kicked by Fish, by O'Reilly, and now Adam Cole. I don't really recognize Adam Cole. Maybe I've seen him before. I just don't recognize him with the mustache and beard. But in the end, they beat his ass up. And then they also beat up a little bit of... they beat up his ass. And then they just hold the title. The question's going to be, what's going to happen next? I just don't know. Now, finally, the best match of the night. The Empress continues her reign. Maybe I might use that as a title. Asuka versus Ember Moon. 504 days. I think that's more than a year and a half, ladies and gentlemen. More than a year. I think it's a year and 7 or 8 months. I'm not even exactly sure about the amount of time. At least a year and 6 or 7 months, if I'm correct. That is something. That is something. You don't usually see that for the women. They don't hold the title that long. The only person that even came close was pretty much Nikki Bella. She had it more than 300 days. But in the end, she had to give it up. In this case, Asuka's held it 500 days. Not even the men have held the title that long. New Day's the only one that's held the title as long as that. But even they had to eventually job out. So, was this match good? Yes, it was very good. Ember Moon, remembering that she was on Reality of Wrestling at one point and went from Booker T's promotion of Reality of Wrestling, and someone tell me if you want me to go back to Reality of Wrestling. If you don't want me to go back to it, I'm not going to go back to it. I haven't really seen any episodes in quite a while, but if anybody wants me to go back to Reality of Wrestling and maybe see the next future Ember Moon, leave me a line below. But as it stood, that was the best match of the night. And it flowed way better than any of the other matches. Yes, there were a lot of false starts. There were a lot of finishes done that were countered or kicked out. But in this case, it made sense. It was only 200 days when it came to Bobby Roode. That's how long his title reign is. And I believe... what was it? The Authors of Pain is maybe at least 180 days or more. I don't know. But she has 500 days. It makes perfect sense why she had to be struggled with. Because if it's someone under that, it really takes away from the match. In this case, it did not. And this really was the best match of the night. I think it might be a contender for the best match of the year. Because of the storytelling. You got a woman who's wrestled and held a title for 500 days and is willing to do whatever it takes. She messed over Ember Moon's left shoulder. She grabbed her tights to try and win. But in the end, even though she did a couple of heel things to do whatever it takes to win, she still had to win clean. Going as far to say that it reminds me of Kurt Angle is a lot. But let's be honest here. This is a freaking 500-day run. And at this moment, there is no one left for her to go up against except Ember Moon again. There is no one else. And this makes me think. Ember Moon either is going to leave and go to one of the two brands, or they may make Ember Moon win on a house show and make Asuka job without her being seen. Now, I know that's saying a lot, but look what happened with AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. That happened. They made Kevin Owens' job on a house show, when that really didn't make a lot of sense. It was interesting, but it really didn't make a lot of sense. It wasn't a huge payout. Yes, it was a shock value, but it really didn't help storyline-wise. Here, they may be painted into a corner. They may think, well, how are we going to get her to lose this title? If Ember Moon was the best they have, and now she's gone up against her twice, and has lost twice, one controversial and then one clean win, Well, actually, they both weren't total clean wins. She did cheat. And you could still go there, but let's be honest. I don't think they're going to be able to get themselves out of this unless they try and have Asuka lose on a house show. Honestly speaking, it would have been better to let Ember Moon win here because, to be honest, Asuka should go to one of the brands. But then I'm thinking, what would she gain if she goes to the brands now? Because Raw is really not doing very great when it comes to the women. Neither is SmackDown, even though Naomi's doing well. It's kind of hard to say what's going to happen with Asuka and definitely what's going to happen with Ember Moon. As it stands, this was a good show. It was. The matches I would say you should watch. Asuka and Ember Moon, yes. What is the guy's name? Alston, Black versus Hiro Tommy. And the Altars of Pain versus Sanity. Those are the matches I think you can care about. Guardano versus Almost really wasn't something you really need to care about. But this is just my point of view. Have a good day, have a good night, and watch for my SummerSlam review. It will be coming tomorrow, and I don't know how I'm going to survive nearly 5 to 6 hours of watching a show, including the kickoff, because they're going to put something on there. See ya.